Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name's Alex Todd, also known as King Toddy Poker. I recently managed to win Grosvenor Poker's Goliath tournament from 11,500 entrants, which is my greatest achievement to date. And I thought it'd provide some good content to look through that final table footage and sort of give some insight on what I was thinking throughout and just some other tips and tricks that I feel like will be helpful. I also got my good friend Sam Goodman, who's also a full-time poker player. He's on the commentary, giving his takes on things and sometimes giving a bit of a different viewpoint to mine, which I think is really useful. If this is content that you do enjoy, then this is something I've always wanted to do and I'd love to make more content. So please do give the video a like, subscribe, and just check out what's to come in future. I appreciate it. So finally, before we do get into the video, and I promise I won't keep you too much longer, I just wanted to mention about the quality of the video. I don't have a lot of experience in this sort of thing, so it's not the perfect quality that I'd want to produce, but this was something we did over the space of sort of the 2 weeks after the Goliath win, and my fiance Beck put a lot of time into editing it for me and putting this video together. So I just want to say a massive thank you to her and to expect much better content going forward once I've got more experience. So thanks a lot. Enjoy. So I've got Sam here to go through this final table footage of the most recent Goliath. Sam, do you want to tell everyone a bit more about you?
Sure, so I'm 30 years old. I wear bucket hats. I've been playing poker for, I guess since I was 18 for a living, so been in the game quite a while.
A long time.
And hopefully offer some insight for everyone today, if I can. The rusty old ring that I have, so we'll see. First of all, before we start though, what's this in the background, Alex?
So this is some of the prizes that I recently won. So we'll get to
that.
that.
Look, here we go. We got Goliath, champion. Oh, here we go. 2023. Biggest one ever, I think. We'll be taking that.
More importantly, we got the OU vodka.
AU vodka, which we'll be drinking today. Try and make it a bit more entertaining for everybody.
Yeah, my first public footage, so we'll see how it goes. So let's just get into it.
By the way, how many people have asked you for a selfie so
far? Three, which is three more than anyone else's other than my missus, which I used to say no to, so this is all new.
Basically famous.
Pretty much, yeah, I'm there.
Right, let's crack on. I guess we're going to go with the first interesting hand, I guess, from the final table. Anything to say about these stacks? I mean, they're pretty bunched together. There's nothing really that extreme going on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm less looking at stacks here and more looking at who's left in, and like in that field, the only recognisable player really is Jimmy, who is a guy in the orange. So I got direct position on him, which
yeah, sure.
I remember finding out that like seat draw, I literally jumped off the stage if I'd already run the tournament, which sounds ridiculous, but like when there is two players that got such a clear edge, position is going to play such a massive role there. So
definitely a good seat draw.
Yeah,
especially when there was like four of you at the start that had like quite close stacks.
There
was one guy who had slightly more, and then the next three all had the same.
Yeah. So the guy
having position on Jim here with like reasonably deep stacks is so important.
Yeah.
First, a real interesting spot of the final here for you, Andrew. If I was to Andrew, it says he's on the cutoff there, but he's on the button opening to 2.2 at 1 mil big blind. Jimmy folds, it's on you in the big blind. 6-5 off, Alex.
Well,
thoughts?
I will note first of all that before the Goliath, 6-5 was my favourite hand. So that has some bearing here, but very little.
Of course.
Pretty much before I looked at my hand, I'd read into the fact that Andrew had gone for just above the min raise, and I'd seen him open in a bit bigger with stronger hands earlier in the day. So unless I had something pretty playable, I was always going to free bet. Pretty much.
You were going with the old pretty much 100% free bet strat here.
Close to.
Like first hand, you're setting the tone of the FT.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. This is not a theoretical manoeuvre.
Yeah.
That a lot of people would make, but we're at the Goliath FT here.
Yeah. Maybe if I look down and I've got like 5s or 6s, I might call.
Yeah, you might.
But like a lot of the other hands, I'm going to choose to be aggressive here.
A good thing to point out though is like you're playing against, no disrespect to Andrew, but he's probably not a professional player.
Yeah.
Maybe a bit of a weak player, and you know this is big money for everyone.
Yeah.
So like if you 3-bet him here, and maybe you're supposed to go all in with some bluffs, some ace-5 suited, and some hands like this isn't happening.
No.
So like he's going to probably way overfold to 3-bets here.
100%. And like in terms of sizing,
whether you can go 100% of hands,
who
knows?
That seems a little bit wide, but like.
But use favourite hand, you know.
Yeah,
Favourite hand
yeah, that decided it. So I end up going for a free bet. And in terms of the sizing, like I just don't think he's ever really going to be calling a free bet. I think he's either going to be jamming it in or folding. So I don't think we have to go huge, but I also don't want to go like 3x and price him in with some of these hands that you just fold to reasonable size. And so I think I go near to 4x, which is pretty standard in the spot, I think.
Sure.
I don't know. What size are you going for here?
Yeah, not really something I'd do too much, but I'll probably make it 7.5, maybe 8, but 8.5, you know.
It's all
Especially
in that same region.
You really don't want to see a flop,
Yeah,
you know?
but I don't want that to be a factor. Like I would be balanced here.
I think 7.5 and 8 do, you know, maybe 8 or whatever, but it's not a good deal either way.
Yeah, I guess sizing gets slightly smaller on the final table where the stacks are shallower.
I think it doesn't really make any difference. You're basically just forcing him into shove and fold, to be honest. Like, he should call
free bet with the 6-5 off, trying to take the initiative here.
There we go, first
setting
part.
the tone.
Whoop whoop!
So I think this is the second hand where I ended up V-pipping or entering the pot. Obviously, again, Jack 8 off, not going to be your standard raise in this spot. But my reason...
Not in the ranges, no?
I don't think it's in the opening ranges there, but the reason being the fella in the big blind, I'd already had information to say that he had flat called with 8s against a button open off of like less than 20. So already I'm sure that this guy is playing way too tight. So within reason, I'm pretty much opening his big blind very liberally.
And that was your strat here, I guess. Like, you know, you can look at ranges that you should be opening and stuff, but this is complete, and this is the perfect time to start exploiting people.
It's all
Everyone's playing
poker.
for an outrageous amount of buy-ins.
Yeah.
And like everyone is going to play, apart from Min, I would say everyone is going to play way too tight here.
Yeah, like if this is
Which
like
is fair enough, like, they're playing for a lot of money. You know?
Exactly. Like if this
I'll play
is
too
a
tight too.
GKTT final table for the same
You can't get away with
prizes,
this sort of stuff.
suddenly theory is a lot more involved because everyone's playing to a similar standard. But like at this sort of game, like it's much more.
And it's no disrespect to any of these players; they're all amazing to get here. But like the £150 buy-in, probably not that experienced. I mean, you've got a lot of experience playing online and stuff.
Yeah, I've played a lot of poker.
You play a lot of poker. You're not like going to be like playing too tight, basically.
Yeah, and like if anything, a lot of people are probably shocked to be at this point. Whereas like I've sort of been waiting for it. So if of anyone, I'm probably more ready. I was probably more ready.
I said that as well. He was ready to win this final table. As you see as we go through, I mean, he was definitely going for it. He was not there to ladder up.
But we talked.
ICMs for poor people.
It literally is. Yeah, like
ICMs for poor people.
Yeah, or if you don't think you got an edge, I guess. Like that's if you think that everyone's pretty reasonable. But in this field, I'm just always going to back myself.
Ace 4 off again. We won't go too much about how light the opens are, but you know we can get a drift of how wide you're about.
Yeah. Like
Richard calls a button. What do you think about Richard's button calling range?
Yeah, so Richard, of all the players, definitely fancied himself. I think he had quite a bit of experience. I think more so in cash games, he said. But he definitely was there trying to play pots, and he fancied he had an edge on this field as well. So that comes across in the fact that you see him flatten a few hands and he's opening a few hands that other people won't.
He's going to have a reasonably wide range here when you go for this, which I think is like quite small C bet out of position.
Yeah, so this is sort
three pretty good ball for you, to be fair.
Yeah, this is sort of probably going to be 100% C bet from me here anyway in this dynamic, but with my exact hand, I can even get value. Like it needs a little bit of protection sometimes. Like it's just nice to bet here and just keep the initiative. And I just think it talks a lot about the sort of hands that he's flattened on the button, because in a normal circumstance where like second or third and chips is flat in there, you'd expect that to be quite pocket pair heavy and like quite a strong range. You'd hope.
What I was going to say to you, like in general, I don't think range betting here out of position is the play.
No.
Even though Deuce 3 is pretty good for you, have the monopoly on the big pairs, he's going to have a pretty condensed range. Like all this trash you're opening, he's not going to have. So.
But again, I think that does talk to the information I'd received previously.
I can
where
see
he flattened the button with 5-4 suit, I think it was, which just talks to the fact that he's more than happy to see the flop.
And if you don't think he's going to float you super wide and raise you, then you can get away with probably range betting there.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, I say range bet. This is just betting with all of your hands. So you say you raise. This is normally a good time to range bet would be you raise from under the gun, big blind calls. The flop is Ace Jack 2 rainbow or something, 2 high cards. well then they have all this stuff that will just instantly fold. So you might want to just bet all of your hands for a small size and just make a profit on that bet.
Yeah. I think this becomes more of a thing sometimes on the final tables when you are playing a lot of pots and you do just want to see bet really small, like for a small size at a really high frequency, which is sort of the strategy I'm going here. Like when I get resistance on the flop, my turn strategy is going to involve a lot of checking.
Yeah.
Because I just think when you do get called on the flop, them hands are...
Basically, people are often forced to overfold to like a small bet, but like I think people will just pretty much everyone here will just overfold the flop.
Yeah.
Small sizes on this FD.
I'm not actually
so big, so.
I'm not actually involved in this hand, but we might as well just touch on it. This was something, again, information I was receiving. I heard about this hand 20 minutes after, and I think Richard chooses like close to 2/3, which for me is really going to be unbalanced. Like it checks out here because he's got top pair, but I think if we were to see a smaller size here, he just wouldn't be strong very often. I think that's something I'm already going to read into how he's playing. But again, these are all just assumptions. Like these are the assumptions that I'm making in that situation, and I have no confidence that any of these assumptions are right. But that is, I guess, the edge you have in this game. It's about how good the assumptions you're making are and how much you're adjusting your game to what you think other people are playing like. Because obviously the cards are only one factor here. Like the rest of it is working out your opponents and what they think of you and how they're perceiving you is really important. So already, like we've started the FT here, I've chipped up slightly, but so have some of the other big stacks. So already the short stacks are even shorter, and the big stacks are sort of pulling away a little bit, which sort of talks to how this final table is going to go. You've sort of got the players that are there, prepared to play pots, and then you've got sort of the other half of the table that are all sort of just waiting it out, trying to ladder. And in previous situations, I probably would have actually been one of those guys at that final table, looking at them prizes, looking at what the next jump was, trying to just survive and get my furthest in the tournament. But I think, once you've had a lot of close runs, you then, when you get that spot, you're so ready just to go for the win. Like, I do think that helped me a lot to sort of close this one out.
Involved in this one?
I believe so. I think it was just a pre-flop spot, but again, I think this talks to how players are playing against me and how, like, I'm able just to sort of use my position to my advantage. Like, I think usually, if this was any other player and they choose to 3x out the big blind, I think Jimmy's probably actually just going to peel.
Yeah, so basically saying Jimmy was probably quite aware that he was one of the more experienced players and was sort of looking for a...
This is me trying to gauge.
He wasn't looking to tangle too much out, get out of line too much, you know.
Obviously, like Ace-8 is probably going to be a raise at quite a high frequency there regardless, but I think it's good to get that information that, like, okay, Jimmy's not trying to tangle. If he's limp calling, he's got a stronger range. He's not playing them speculative holdings against me and stuff. Like, again, that's information that I'm getting from, like, the hands that I've played previously that I'm just not sure the rest of the field are really actively, like, looking at. Like, I'd be shocked if any of the rest of the final table sort of were getting any information on how other players were playing at this point. But that, I guess,
so you can see in the background there, look, we're looking at hands, getting some info.
Yeah, there's the team, all there.
Shout out Cod, shout out Dan in the background, shout out Tino.
They was all there the whole day.
Shout out the boys.
Them two guys hadn't even slept. They'd played PLO all through the night and then railed me all through the Sunday and then drove home.
Big shout out the rail.
Absolute grinders, mate. They're there to the very end.
So we've got Richard opening here, +2.
Should we just have a look at what Jay thinks? I think he talks about it.
I'm just slightly coloured, think we want to let this one go.
We'll get a professional in there to give us...
I like it.
Give us analysis.
I quite often went against the professional's opinion, but at the end of the hand, he was like,
Jay's got a lot more. Well, the way he talks about the game.
Well, if he's going to take this approach, though, I much prefer this as
Alex. No, he likes it. No, he likes
it. An option at a small frequency. I think call's probably the worst option. Much prefer to see the aggressive route here. I like the size as well. Nice and big out of position, 8.2. Really nice sizing choice in my opinion. And Richard now with the King 4 suited. Just going to have to get out of the way. So Alex going to take the initiative and take this one down here with the King 10 off.
Just a theme. It shows a nice theme here.
Just take it at a very small frequency.
Just getting over it basically.
Yeah, and I think it also talks to the fact that Richard, like my perception of him, he is looking for still spots. He's opening king 4 suited a +2, and I can take advantage knowing that he's not. He's not opening the hands that he should be. He's going much wider than he should be, and I'm just re-stealing at every opportunity. Pretty much not irrelevant in my cards, but like just in them situations, I'm just going to put pressure on him.
Yeah, until I think someone does it or shows that they're going to play back or do something. Yeah, you can go a little wild if you want to.
And like, it's one thing showing that you want to take the initiative and try and steal some spots, but then there's another thing actually then like resisting against someone that's going back at you, which is like the next level. Like he might want to steal on these guys' big blinds, but does he really want to play a big pot against like someone that's covering him in this massive spot? He doesn't. Yeah. Like, so I can again just use that to my advantage.
Sure. Are we in this one?
So I actually make a fairly tight fold because the way we're playing, Ace 9 is actually the best hand I've seen in the FT so far. So like,
this is big fold.
But the principle being, it's Andrew. He's open slightly bigger. I know it doesn't check out that he's got a good hand, but I think in this spot, just going after him again might just be one step too far. Like if I make this 7.5 million. He might even just make a stand and just ship it in on me.
This is true. There is a little bit of a game here where, like, if you just go after someone too hard, some people should be like, fuck this guy.
Yeah, like game flow is a massive thing. You've got to recognise when people think, oh, right, this guy's really taking the piss, and there's people that are waiting to take a stand, and like sometimes just letting them guys have one enables you to then keep stealing again, like for a bit because they feel like they've had their he's stolen the blinds one hand or whatever. So like. That definitely is a thing, I think, like feeling out the final table and like trying to navigate the situation
and you want to keep this dynamic going where you're chipping up. I mean, if you start getting people like, oh my god, this guy's so out of line and they know it in game without even seeing your cards because the amount of hands that you're playing.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's not going to be too long before someone does get like an ace jack or an ace queen off and it's just like, I'm all in.
Yeah.
Well, then Jimmy's going to go for the... I can't remember, 5.5 million.
5.5, so it's about 4.5 big blinds. I think that's pretty standard given the spot. It's not really a spot we're going to come across a lot where you get a button limp off 30 bigs and then a 4.5 big blind ISO. So already I'm a bit confused as to what this looks like, and then you don't actually see it.
We can pause the video here, it's on you now, and you're in the big blind. I mean, we're playing essentially just over 30 bigs effective with these two. Jimmy has like 40 million, so a little bit over 30 bigs.
No, it's 1.2 million.
The big one here, when it's 4.5 big blinds on you on an FT, this is kind of a tough spot to sort of, with a lot of your hands, because I think it's easy for us now, we can see Jimmy's cards with king 6 off. But I mean, this is a spot where you think he's going to be pretty out of line, I would say.
So generally, I'd think he's going to be out of line in this spot, but because of the way he played the FT, I hadn't seen him really pushing anything.
I mean, that's the thing, it's easy to see now it's king 6 off, but in game, this is like, you can't know for sure that he could just have, ace king.
Yeah, possibly. Like, in game I read this to be fairly strong. If this was say like day 2, I'm probably going to 3-bet this Libri knowing that he's just going after it. But like in this situation, I just didn't feel like he was that wide.
Yeah.
But it's just
one. So do you want to say what you had this hand? Because I don't think it shows on the graphic.
No, so the graphic doesn't actually show. I wake up with Queen Jack suited, Queen Jack of spades.
Tough spot.
Feels.
Tough spot.
I don't think Andrew's got any traps, so I don't feel like there's much risk if I flat that I'm not going to get to see the flop. So I think that's one thing to note. So initially I start leaning towards call because I think it's just too strong to fold. Even though Jimmy's not been out of line, I'm in position. It's got so much playability. Probably dominates a lot of Andrew's limping range. Like,
sure, I think fold would be.
I think ruled fold out the question.
So you're now talking call 3-bet small to fold to jam basically. Or jam.
I think, again, if you put this in a solver without taking into account ICM, it's probably going to say that Queen Jack suited is just a rip because it likes to do some of that stuff with like this suited broadways. But in game, I'm just never taking that spot.
Yeah,
if I'm going to choose,
when you're in this spot against this, the Goliath final table, I don't think you're going to take this, the shove here. I don't think. But
my chips are too valuable. So like in this situation, 3-bet's going to be quite polarised, right?
Well, yeah. Here's what I was going to say. So in this situation, Jimmy's super polar basically between like he's not going to raise a hand like.
I don't think he's raising 9-10 suited, for example.
Probably not. Well, he might, but then he could.
I think he chooses flat. I think he chooses flat.
This is quite a polar range where like I think if you make a small 3-bet here, he will respond with a lot of folding on jamming maybe, or like.
But you might also trap, but I guess post flop.
Sure, but then I think like he's going to have a lot of this sort of hand in his range, like ace 7 off, ace 6 off, like probably a load of offsuit aces and a load of offsuit kings. Easy to say now because he has king 6 off, but like I think this is a good strategy by him where like he can take one of these blockers to block Andrew's traps and just make a big size and just take it.
Like,
so I think when you make a small 3-bet here, I think it's very effective.
Yeah.
But the problem is the queen jack suited, 3-bet folding it
just
seems a little bit dirty. So I think you land on call here.
Yeah.
I think it's alright.
I think I went through that exact
it's a tough spot.
process. Like I wanted to 3-bet, but it just felt.
In theory would be jam, but I do think with
I'm more inclined to 3-bet queen jack off
which I think it's not a stretch to say you had a reasonably big edge at this final table.
Yeah.
To not go for an all in here, I think is totally fine.
No, I ruled that out quite quickly. I think if I queen jack off, I'm more inclined to 3-bet.
Yeah,
I think the queen jack suited's got so much playability.
It's a bit of a waste to get jammed on, but like.
So.
It could also still be fine to just make this like 11 mil and then fold to jam.
Yeah, so in game I was thinking 12 mil and fold to jam, but I also just thought that Jimmy was leaning towards a stronger top part of his range just based on the FT. That's why I ended up on flat because I just thought.
Yeah. Even folding would not be insane here. Like
I considered it.
This is a tough spot.
I considered fold, but then I just thought at the time I don't know that the graphics cover my cards, so I could have got away with just the nitty little queen jack suited fold. But I think
it is nitty, but it's not like outrageous. I think this is a close spot.
It was
down in the
really,
comments what you do here.
Yeah,
professionals.
I would love
queen jack suited here.
I would love to hear some really good players' opinions on how they
super
play
pros,
this
crushers.
No, just anyone that's got
Goliath
good,
players. Give us your insight on this one.
Anyone that's played some spots. But this is not a spot that comes up often. That's why it's so interesting, and you can talk about it forever because you don't really get this spot.
Yeah, and it could be kind of interesting if we didn't see Jimmy's cards here to sort of like. From your perspective, playing in game, this is
get unbiased.
It's easy when you see this now.
Yeah, get
be like, this guy's out of line, but like in game, this is a tough spot.
The flop even becomes interesting based on the spot because it comes monotone with the ace and the king, which.
And I think Jay says something about this flop now, which maybe we should play. He says something quite interesting, I think. Well, I get my drink.
You need another one.
What are we talking about?
In terms of range, board that I expect to see check here from Jimmy Tower. Like this is a really interesting one. This is a board that is over c-bet because it's ace king high mono. Like you see a lot of players c-bet this board Tower when in reality we don't actually have too many flushes here as Jimmy. Once the ace and the king of diamonds are on board, like our flush combinations reduce drastically as the razor here. Like it's going to be hands like queen jack of diamonds, queen 10 of diamonds, jack 10 of diamonds, 10 9 of diamonds.
Maybe pause it now.
Maybe like a jack 9 suited as well.
I think when Jay says here that you've got a lot of these jack 9 suited, jack 10 suited, we will probably have some of them, but I think a lot of them are discounted. Queen 10 suited, I think you may even fold pre. I think because I think he's overestimating how much you want to get involved with Jimmy here. So I actually think from Jimmy's perspective, neither of you really have a flush very often at all.
No one. I don't really have any strong hands here. I don't think I've ever got ace 7. Like again, ace 7 suited.
You can have obviously you can have queen jack of diamonds, maybe jack 10
like
of
one.
diamonds,
Like
in a normal spot where you would have a lot of the lower suited connectors. This is not a spot where you're going to have them because he's also so big from the small blind. So if this was a button open and you've called the big blind, completely different. Like you would not want to range bet this board as the button when you're very small because you just have way more flushes. And you don't want to get.
In terms of the strong hands on this board, like I've never got aces, I've never got kings, I've never got ace king. I don't think I've ever got ace 7 suited. So I'll probably go 3-bet or fold pre. So like I've never got these middling flushes. So like I haven't got a lot of strong hands.
Would range bet here is like the flushes. So like if this was not monotone, they would have the monopoly on all the top range, so they can get away with like range betting. You can't really do too much about it.
But
in
on
the way
the
of
monotone,
raising.
it's very different.
But like on this, you can get away with because you're sort of like equalised at the top range. You know? Queen jack of diamonds, he can probably have all these hands as well.
Yeah.
But then like when you come down a class of like 2 pair sets, etc., he obviously has all of them, which you don't. So I think
probably got like 6, 7 combos and flushes, whereas like Alex is going to.
Even so, he has a hand that really would like to check a lot.
Yeah.
But he still bets. So I think this is just like he's just betting.
He's betting range there, I think.
I think that's a good play by him as well. Really.
Yeah, I think he played that hand well. I think it was a really interesting spot from my behalf. If I went back, obviously I know he's holding now, but I think I do like making it 12 mil there. So I just thought I'd jump in here and explain sort of where we're at with the final table. So at this point, there's now 6 people left, and we've talked about doing a deal. However, the deal that was proposed was sort of to flatten the structure of the payouts, which was not something I was really interested in. So I ended up actually saying no to that deal. And then the footage you're going to see coming up is the hands straight after that. So just bear that in mind, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the video.
I think there was a lot of time here wasted for people that were watching live at home.
Yeah.
Pretty much wasted time. Like, this deal was never going to go through. So.
But I've been quite clear on what I would want
the
in a
frustrating
deal
thing about it. It's like,
from the very start, like, and it took a lot of headphones going straight back in the zone.
Let's play a game of
We're
cards.
playing for 220k again. Let's play. Deal them cards. So this is 2 hands after we've just said no to the deal.
We just said no deal, and now here we are, small blind.
This is the first time I tangled properly with Yusan, and I'd played with Yusan since the start of day 2, and I felt like he was there to win. He wasn't really a player there laddering.
He wasn't playing too tight.
No, he was there playing his game and trying to do his best, and he wasn't scared about the payouts or the situation. He was just enjoying it and playing his game. So like, that's my read on him at this point.
So if I was you got 8s here, obviously you could raise, could call.
Yeah.
You go for the call.
So we're first and second in chips. I want to play really low variance in this situation. And it's actually a really nice limp, because I think he's going to ISO a lot of hands that I dominate, and I get away for cheap if he has got like a bigger pair that I can't really fold to aggression if I raise and he free bets. I can't just fold.
You basically by saying you don't want to get this in pre.
So I just want to see the flop.
You're not going to raise and put yourself.
I want to make sure I see the flop here with a really strong hand, blind with blind, and not just blow this pot.
Seems fine. I mean, you can raise, you can call.
Yeah.
But I like it. You're going for the, you've got a lot of easy spots here where you're stealing pre-flop, and you don't want to get yourself in too many situations
100%.
where you're playing a big all-in pre-pot.
100%. I want to be small.
Because like when you raise here and get 3-bet, I mean, it's tempting to just shove 40 big blinds, 8s, blind and blind. But
yeah, like if this is on day 2 or something, I'm probably ripping 8s, but this is not that situation.
So you are ICM aware
sometimes.
So you do know what it is.
I just know how much my chips are
people.
valuable. Yeah, but like. It's more my edge, it's not even the chips, it's like I just don't want to risk this many chips. Like there was a spot on day 2 where I put in 16 million on the turn against Andy, which was like, I don't know, 25-30% of my stack. On the start of day 3. Yeah, at the start of day 3, sorry. So like, I didn't want to have to put in big amounts of chips. If I didn't have to.
You go for the call anyway, and then flop Jack 4 rainbow, you check.
Beautiful flop. Beautiful flop.
Pre-flop you send ISO completely fine.
Yeah, same as I did against Ming. Exact same spot. He opted for just over 3x, literally the same size I had used previously. So he had some knowledge of how to play for sure. He said he used to play back in the day, like 06 to 09, some of the limit games and that. So like he had a good feel for the game for sure.
So it's probably an interesting point to stop the video here. I think this sizing from Yusan.
Yeah, the sizing.
4.5 half pot, a little over half pot. I think this is like, you're not going to see a lot of players use this size. They're going to use a bit of a smaller size. When you limp call here and you've got 10-8 suited, 9-7 suited, or Queen 9 suited.
This is an inexperienced size.
You don't really need to use this big of a size to put pressure on these hands. I mean, you can just bet a small size and you're in a much tougher spot. When you bet this size, I mean, you can fold all them hands. You can continue all your pairs, all your jacks, all your fours, all your raise high.
Like you got to think from his perspective.
I think this makes it easy for you.
Yeah, like he doesn't get any better hand to fold, and he's just going to fold out all the worst hands. So like this bet for this size, he can achieve the exact same thing.
Also worth mentioning is like when he has a jack here, it seems unlikely you want to bet half pot here. I mean, what can you call with?
Exactly. Like
it really looks
what
like
am I continuing with on this flop?
Already, if I'm in game here, I'm thinking this is a bit weird.
It's like, what's the worst hand I would continue for this size and this flop? It's probably going to look at like Ace 10 suited with a backdoor. That's probably the worst pill.
I mean, you should. Well,
I probably am meant to pill wider. I'm not saying that.
But any ace high.
After I've limp called pre
King
as well.
10 backdoor flush draw, Queen 10 backdoor flush draw. I mean, they should still call against half pot, but this is
mate.
What I mean.
If I'm honest, in this spot, I'll probably just let it go.
He's really condensing you down here.
I'll just let him have it. If I King 10 of clubs, I would just pass for this size and just said, all right, fair play. I'm missing.
Well, maybe it's a good bet then.
Well, what Ace 8 though? If he had like a bad hand, if he had less showdown,
clears out a lot of equity.
If he had 6, 7 of hearts, I don't mind this size. But like with Ace 8, like yeah, but
sure.
Yeah.
But I think in general, it's just something to go as we go on through this hand. I think that point is going to become very relevant. Like when you look back to this in the hand, and what he tries to tell you later on, I think is
the story
quite
like,
unbelievable.
Like the bet sizing on the flop is the first big piece of information
Sure.
that he's trying to give to me, and on this flop, when he's betting that big, it doesn't spell a lot of strength because I just don't see them really strong hands.
I don't see like a hand like queens or kings. Really.
Yeah, like do they
betting
want to bet
half
that
pot,
size?
like it just seems like a situation where you might want to check, you want a bit small.
So from my perspective, easy check call on the flop. Like we're never doing anything else.
I mean, you could consider a small check raise for protection, but I would not do it.
No. This is unnecessary.
And you get more information, like you can get more, even though your hand does need some protection.
So check here doesn't mean necessarily I've always got the best hand because I feel good about my hand.
Like, let's be real. When this goes check off half pot the flop, you're feeling like this is.
I'm
good 90% plus of the time.
90% of the time, I think I'm good here. I think there's a slim chance he's trapping with a jack or he's got nines or better. But I think the majority of the time, vast majority.
I mean, this is blind and blind.
Yeah.
He raised.
Like I've got like near top of my range here. Like unless I've got a jack, this is like the nuts basically.
Yeah, because like even 10 you might stack off pre.
Oh, 10s is a different story pre-flop.
Yeah.
That's a much
like
stronger
you're basically
hand.
I mean, this is what he's done, right? He's
So I decided that
quite significantly on the flop.
I decided
when you do
I don't
this,
think he's gonna bluff a lot here either. Like, but I don't think I get a lot of value in checking. I don't think he's got a lot of like bluffs. I think he's just a one and done with that size on the flop. So like, I think my value comes from him hero calling with ace high, or if he's somehow rivered a pair, or if he's got 4, he could have 7s, 5s, 3s. Like, even ace deuce. Like, there's a lot of hands I can actually get value from, and I choose a small sizing because I want to be able to bluff the small as well. If I've somehow pilled king 10 of clubs on the flop and I want to try and get him off it, I'm not going to be trying to bomb it here because the hand I'm trying to get to follow.
No, I mean also when you look at your range that calls half pot on the flop and gets to this rip, I mean you're really lacking in bluffs now. No, when you want to bet, like you really are. Yeah. I mean you'd have to have these hands that may not even call against that size.
Yeah.
To bluff.
Yeah. Queen so I've got a very value heavy range here.
Because even if you have ace high, I mean there's no reason to bluff.
So I think I'm going to get a commentary back here because.
So, but that all leads to like a. The size that you bet here, I think it's 4.5, right?
I know, I bet 5.8. I bet 5.8. So literally a third. Like, I think I like a third. Just I'd bet a third of a jack. I think I'd bet. That's just the.
That seems nice. Like
that's
really
just my one size.
I
don't think I've got any other sizing. That's just my one size, pretty much. If I want to bet, it's a third here. So
I think it's good.
But in game, I'm thinking he's thinking about hero calling with here with ace high. That's what I'm thinking. I'm very confident I've got the best hand. I'm not considering that he could ever really raise, like as the hand's gone. So I'm feeling very comfortable right now.
So listen to what Jay says on that, like while he's in the tank here.
Less inclined to be continuing these hands versus at such a big size on the board where you expect to see a small c-bet. So I'd be really surprised if he called here with ace high. I think it'd be really
he's alluding to the fact that you're struggling to bluff it. And then
is he gone for raise? He has gone for raise.
And instantly, let's pause
the video. What's he trying to rep here?
Jay says it there. What is he trying to rep? I mean,
that's exactly what I'm thinking.
This raise, I can respect the heart.
Yeah.
Commitment to the game from you, Sam, here.
That's my initial reaction. I'm like, are you really doing this? This is what I'm thinking. I'm like, you're a crazy man. You're going for a bluff here in this line that doesn't make any sense.
We're sitting on the rail and we can sort of see the action playing out when we can't see the cards.
Yeah.
And me and the boys on the rail will just look at each other when he does this and we're like, this
is a bluff.
It's a bluff.
It's a bluff.
This is a bluff.
What I'm thinking instantly. I'm like, how can he have it?
Maybe he could have. Listen, he is referring pocket sixes. Pocket sixes.
If he somehow got Badoogie 5-3, then fair play.
Or like a weird jack, a really weird jack. Because listen, he could raise.
He could have a jack. He could have a jack. He's repping a jack.
I think the thing to think about. His raise quite small, right? I think if you play it a little long, he raised it 16 million.
Yeah.
It's a small raise. He could raise with like 9s or 10s here. I don't think he's going to do that.
I don't think he'd ever find a raise with.
So he's now saying that he has a jack
or
pocket sixes.
Jack or better.
I don't think 5-3 would check the turn rate.
Sixes was the hand that made most sense as played.
Sixes he could have.
So I'm basically losing.
But now I know you're not a big theory guy, Alex, and I know you're not into combos, blockers, but that's 3 combos.
I know there's 3 combos, and I know there's fucking
if we play the video a little bit longer and look at the price you're getting now.
Oh, crazy price! But that's why it's sick that he could be bluffing.
You got to call 10 million.
Jack not going to go for it over 3 streets here.
He's got 3 combos of value.
But that's why it's so sick. Maybe if you try and bluff it, give me 4-1. give me 4 to 1. I'm like, how
It's a
did this
brave
guy?
bluff. It's a very brave
You can
bluff.
see the expression on my face. I just can't believe it. I'm like, are you really going for a bluff? Give me 4 to 1 here when I've literally got only value. I've got a value dominant range. Like,
But I think
look at
maybe
my face.
here comes you, Sam, with the fake tails.
He
Jay
goes for
says
the
it.
reverse live tail as
Yeah.
well. Goes for the drink, acting like
Goes
he's
for the drink.
comfortable. He goes for the reverse
So
live
I won't
tail.
want to go into
Leans back,
detail
goes for his water, acts like he's not
about what I'm doing here, but obviously I'm trying to get a live tail and get
Well,
a
you sound
feel.
like Charlie Carroll when he goes on. I can't tell you the tell. Tell him the tells, Toddy. Tell him the tells.
It's your tails. You can tell
I'll
the
tell
tails
the tails.
if you
Listen,
want.
man.
This is the routine.
I mean, this is a free bit of value for everyone out there.
this
live
should be
pro.
payable content.
This yeah, payable content coming in for free. When you're in a situation like this, and you've got to look at your man. This is live poker now. This is not online poker. Your man's raised you on the road. He's either bluffing or you're toast.
Yeah.
This is the time to start talking to your man. This is the time where you go, have you got it? Just try and gauge how comfortable they are. And I mean, there's plenty of things you can pick up on here, but like this, trying to look comfortable, grabbing the drink. I mean, you can't see too much. You know, we're on a screen here, but like,
Look, you can
start talking to
see
him.
him start to move more. I'm making him feel uncomfortable. I'm holding the call chips. He's clearly
That's it.
more elevated than he was the moment
This is some
before.
free strat right here. If you're in a situation like this, and you've got the call ready, and your opponent then starts like trying to change you from calling, this is just the biggest tell ever. Changing course of action.
Yeah.
If you're about to fold, they're silent, and then all of a sudden they go, oh, maybe I'll show one, right? Throw the hand straight away.
Yeah.
You know?
That was such a sick moment. Like, you saw the reaction there. I was pumped. Like, it's 2 hands after we said no deal. He's gone after it, this guy that was chip leader.
So we can respect
like,
Yusan's heart there, but this
mate,
was
massive respect.
this was a bit of a punt in my opinion.
I know, but I respect the fact you didn't want to
respect
call
the heart.
there.
We can
You
respect
didn't want to
the
call there. You wanted to put the decision back on me, and that
it's a tough
showed
spot,
his
listen,
approach.
it's
That's
easy for
how I
everyone
read it.
saying when they're
Yeah.
not in the spot for the big money that they were cool. Very easy, but you've got to find the call there in game.
If
Big
I
money.
call and I'm wrong there, suddenly I've got like 25 million. I've
Yeah,
got 20
big
big
pot.
blinds. It's all changed.
Big
It's
pot.
anyone's game. I've not got my edge. I can't mess around. It's totally different. It's not just the 10
Big
million
pot.
that I'm calling. It's the whole situation. I dump all the chips to the direct left of me. Like, it changes everything. Like, that's when you've got to make the right decision. Is in them massive moments. Like, and you've got to take your time and do everything you can
for
to
anyone
make the
here
right decision.
looking to get some advice, and if they get in a big spot like this, you got to take your time with it. Don't rush your decisions. Take your time. Think about it clearly.
For sure.
It's easy to lose your head in these situations. You're playing for big money and just making rash decisions because you're under the lights. You know.
Yeah, I think the king 8 off open from chip leader with this stack distribution is perfectly fine. From under the gun with 6-handed.
Jay likes
Because
it.
of
Funnily
ICM,
enough,
as
Jay
chip
likes the
leader,
loose
I'll range
behaviour.
Jay likes to
a
open.
lot. It's
Jay's
just-
opening ranges.
with Jay Harwood.
Stacks here aren't supposed
Know what
to
we're
play
referring
back.
to,
It's
man.
open, so they need to
Not-
be really
not the tightest,
tight.
pal.
He likes to play pots.
And
Certainly not a net, Joe.
blinds are increasing.
So the blinds are increasing that to 1.6 million. So suddenly the short stacks
25 big
around that
stacks,
20 bigs
a lot
mark,
of pressure on these
which is the
guys.
shortest they've
And
really
it's
been all
probably
day.
just aware of that they're not going to be able to play back as easily as you think.
Exactly.
Andrew offered just sub 20 here. 19 big blinds going to open
Going for the 2.5.
to 4 million. Graphics.
So
now
as
up
you already
for
said
the
earlier,
1.6,
you thought Andrew when he was
good to see.
opening, bit bigger, maybe a bit
And
better.
Alex has just got
So you got
jacks
two
here
jacks here in the
in
small blind, as Jay's saying.
And I think this is one of the hands tower that will fall into the remit of free bet not all in. Too strong, I believe, to just shove, especially because we're still.
Well, maybe pause it there and
Not
see. So
huge
Jay
as
said
well.
there, pretty much from a theoretical perspective, you're going to be wanting getting these jacks in. You know, 20 big
Yeah.
blind open. You could either jam, you could 3-bet not all in to induce, but you go for something a little bit different here.
Yeah, like in the normal tournament spot, you look at it, he's 2.5x, he's got 20 blinds, I've got jacks in the small blind. I'm all in. If he's got a better hand, then that is what it is.
Yeah.
But in this situation, I think I get most value from the hands that I do beat, say 10s, 9s, 8s, that you can have here that you might not necessarily get in pre-flop. I'm sure he would, but he might not necessarily.
I wouldn't be so sure. I mean, there's no deal been done.
Yeah, exactly. There's
But
still that
I
ICM
don't
pressure.
think saying I'm sure he would is correct at all. I think when he opens 2.5x here and he has a hand like 2 9s,
Yeah, does
and
he
you
get
go
it
all in, I think there's a big chance he folds.
Exactly.
Big chance.
So I get a lot more value out of seeing a flop and getting a favourable flop against those hands and getting max value against those hands then the times he's got me beat, getting it all in, and I'm 20%.
Even a flip now,
or a flip, yeah. Ace queen, ace king. He's not.
Now.
I don't want to take flips. I'm not looking for a flip at any point in this tournament.
So
really.
this might be this. By the way, this is a very tight flat.
It's tight
because you also do need a decent amount of protection. You know, you don't want to just give king queen. You want king queen offsuit default. So
I think if I had queens, I'm getting it in.
It's a two-way thing. Like you're going to give a lot away some EV, like let him see a flop. But I think this is fine. I mean, we're just trying to reduce variance in this situation.
One final thing for me flatting. I've just won that big pot of Yusan. He's down to less than 25 bigs for the first time in the FT, and I think he is the sort of person that would just pile in with a pair of fives here when it goes raise call.
Sure.
And I'm just snapping off any all in so there's that as well. I think it's the perfect spot to flat. Andrew's got a strong range. Yusan, it lets him in with a wider range. Like
yeah, I mean, I don't know about perfect, but I think this is a good play.
Stronger holdings.
I think this is something that a lot of people would not do ever, which is fair enough. I mean, you know, you can't go wrong with going on it here or free betting. You can't go wrong. I mean, this is plenty strong enough to get in pre. Don't get me wrong, but I think this is also good.
Jacks going for the free bet, not all in.
He's surprised again.
Not something James would have done here.
Play flat.
What?
I haven't got Jay's image, mate. Jay gets a pair of jacks. It's like he's got to set.
With the jacks, and now going to have
anyway, we're going to go to flop here. About 11 million in the pot.
6-7-4. Rainbow.
You decide you're going to check it over to Andrew.
So I know in theory there are leads from this small blind, this flop.
First in chips.
I don't lead.
Second in chips. I
don't lead out the small blind. I don't lead out the small blind. I just play 100% check out the small blind. That I've always played that for years. That's maybe more of a cash game thing. I don't know, but like I just check 100% out the small blind.
He gets to take the driver's seat. He gets to be aggressive. He gets to open wide. He gets the free.
So when he goes check
wide,
I just.
What do we think now? We've already said Andrew. Maybe opening a bit bigger with better hands. Now checks back this flop.
I think pre-flop he had a pair in his hand or a strong ace king, ace queen, ace jack. So when he goes check, I just think he's only ever really going to have ace high here.
Sure.
I think he's got ace high at best.
Did you go for the smallish bet or was it like half pot bet on the turn?
5 million was just under half.
Just like
45.
Street of value.
It's like that amount you can bluff for this size, but ace line a tough spot.
And it sets up a river jam, which if I was bluffing or if I had a really strong hand like a 6 and thought he might be stronger and would have trapped sometimes, I don't really think so, but I might go for all in. But with this hand specifically, I just think it's the perfect third.
I mean, this is just a pure exploit situation. Yeah. I mean, in theory, you probably want to just jam the jacks for value and use that same size with your bluffs. But like, we're on the Goliath final table. We know that Andrew here, all due respect to Andrew, but I can't see Andrew calling an all-in on a ace king.
Nothing complete.
If I had 8-9 diamonds, if I had 8-9 diamonds, I would have gone all in. That's the fact of the matter. I know that's totally unbalanced and it's a good player. They just get to absolutely print and make perfect decisions. But I wouldn't be playing like that against a player that's thinking about that. Like,
and this is no disrespect to Andrew again. This is just like the level of poker we're playing. Like at the Goliath final table, there's a lot of people here, complete amateur players, and done so well to get this far. I mean,
in fairness to Andrew, when I looked, I think he has played for a number of years and has had a few catches over the years. Like he was a decent player.
And listen, everyone here must be.
It's just a big spot.
Make it all this way.
Yeah, it's just a massive spot.
It's more in terms of the experience for this sort of money, you know.
Yeah, exactly that.
This is where the decisions get really.
He's got the chips in
hand. He's
not
not going to want to call
this is just the way
hero calling off on the biggest spot he's going to get in.
Yeah, I just don't expect him to ever hero call ace high, ever.
So I think this is
100% folded.
I think maybe you guys slightly bigger. This is really small, but I think this block size is kind of nice.
Trying to get called by ace king, ace queen.
But I would also, if I somehow had flatted 7-8 pre-flop, I'd use this sizing again.
The 8-9 suited, the ace x of diamonds.
Like, if I had 7-8, I'm using the same sizing because his range is the range I'm trying to get called by is ace high. So if I've got a 7, if I've got 5,
we don't actually see Andrew's hand here, but you know,
the flat pre-flop has worked a treat there, and he's broke the 100 million barrier at 101 for Alex Todd.
We're flying.
And 250 milli chips in play, I believe. Or was that 287? 287.
We are cooking.
Some serious gas.
I think you said exactly that to me. So this spot comes up here, and it says Richard's got 35 million, which would be like 22 blinds. But what happened was, I looked at the screen and I looked at his stack, and I could see that he didn't have 35 million, but he wouldn't tell me how much he had. and it turned out he had around 25. I think it was about 10 million out, which makes obviously a massive difference. Like, if he's raising off of 22 big blinds or raising off of 15 or 16, that's a very different amount. Like, I was trying to clarify, but there was no way of clarifying, so I had to just pretty much try and count his stack exactly, and I was pretty confident that he had 10 million off of what it said.
So he's basically opening off 15 here.
He's got 15. He's got
Traffic's
15.
right, and you
Maybe
actually-
16.
You look down here, but on the button, king, queen off. I think important to note there's 2 stacks behind you here are like sub 40 million. So like
yeah, 25 bigs.
25 bigs or less.
25
King,
or
queen
26.
off on the button. I must say I say tough spot. You could go multiple ways here.
Multiple ways.
You could flat, you could 3-bet small, you could potentially jam. I think it's probably too strong to fold, especially, you know, the way you're playing this final table. I can't see you folding king, queen off.
So this was a big factor for me. Richard taking so long to count his stack and concluding that he wanted to min raise. If he had aces or kings, I don't think he would have took that long. So when he concluded min raise, I think I felt like that was a hand he didn't want to get it all in with. Because of the timing and just the way that he did it.
Yeah.
I was fairly confident that he ended up on min raise and it was a hand that was strong, but he didn't really have to get all in. Because I think he was looking at open jamming. It was like that sort of hand.
So by your analysis there, you're going to land on bang.
I picked up all the pink chips and said, deal up.
Land on all in.
Shit that triangle
I think
over.
it's fine. I think it's important for people listening as well. Like, these are the sort of things you want to be thinking about when you're playing poker. And any time you're playing, really, when you're trying to win and you're playing having a serious game. I mean, all these little things you can pick up on in live poker. It's never going to be perfect. Like, you can't see his cards here.
No.
Richard could have just thought for ages of aces and tracked.
He could have.
It's possible.
He could have.
But I think you make all these deductions and think what's more likely, and then you can base your decisions, you know, for a reason. Like, if it's a close decision like this, you can base it around that.
And there we go.
I think the jam, you know, folds ace jack here, but I think it's probably a fine fold, even off 15.
Yeah.
Raise calling with the pay jump seems.
Yeah, it seems
not the best play.
standard.
I mean, you can see the stacks here. I mean, these 3 guys in the middle really don't want to bust before Andrew. You know?
No. And that's a massive thing here. And that's another thing that led me to think that he was a bit weaker, because when he introduced him what to do and he's ended up on min raise, it felt like he was saying, I can't commit to this
king
hand.
queen anyway, probably.
It probably was a jam regardless.
Reasonable jab, I mean.
But also I could have flatted,
definitely
and
not
then
mandatory, but it's
the small blind and big
reasonable.
blind had jack 10 and ace 2 suited. So we might end up going 4 ways, and they've got all of that equity. I just deny all the equity, take down another 8 million, keep my chip lead, keep the short stack
And you
short
also-
up. It's like,
you just keep that momentum, you keep that this is my final table sort of
yeah.
vibe going, which it sounds a bit like wishy-washy, but I think it's 100% a real thing, like this momentum and this sort of people don't want to get involved. It's good to keep the aggression up. See the action.
Yusan was playing pretty active earlier in the day, now he's short stacked, king 10.
How are we doing, Chris?
You can't do
I've really
anything.
enjoyed the commentary and effort from the whole game.
Earlier on,
You'd
you'd be opening that 100%. Like, the game's changed
We got a
now.
very fast jam,
Password,
by
please.
the way.
Is there a free roll? Password is
Fast
free.
jam.
Yes, there
Very
is
fast jam,
free roll.
but so his stack is actually 16 million.
16
here.
minutes.
10
He
big
had 10
blinds,
big blinds.
and we're looking
Just
down
gotta
here
open
9.
this
So I
up.
literally was
It
thinking to
doesn't
myself,
actually
what
matter.
hands would I call before I'm looking at
Doesn't
my cards?
actually
Like,
matter, because Alex
most people look at their cards and make a decision, but I'm already trying to think of what I'm going to call with here. I basically deduced I'd call probably 6s plus.
Yeah, I mean, for everyone watching, I'd be 19 for
9
16
is
million.
just too high out of it.
Easy.
Even for 26 million, I probably would have ended up calling.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
for
for
6
jam,
minutes,
we was all watching this thinking, Richard's just opened jam 26 million. This is not, this is a.
We want worse than
Yeah,
jam
yeah.
Queens
behind,
wants to
just
read, like, as Jay said here in the commentary, what quick,
but working a
Queens
treat on
wants
this
to like
occasion.
Yeah, yeah.
Alex has a
But
hand,
he
Alex
didn't, he
has
had
to
10
call.
big
yeah,
blinds.
10 big blinds. This is good play.
And we lost this.
We lost one, so it's possible
We
to
gave
win the
one
whole
back.
Goliath
Comps.
and lose all
Yeah,
this.
you
It's okay.
taking the even ICM chop. Just because, like Alex.
So here we are. We get to deal with discussions again, and after lengthy discussions,
Experience in this.
we are going to lock up a deal. How much are we locking up here?
When he said the numbers, I don't remember what he said. 133, was it?
133k from £150 buy-in, locked up.
It's a good return on
That's how it
investment.
shakes.
Whoa, what's happened
And
there?
we're buzzing at this point, right? 133k, but we're still playing on for how much? 44?
44,000.
44, there it is.
Wow. There
Still a lot of money to play
go.
for. But look,
That's it.
sixth was locked up 75k. The next
The
pound
deal
was
guys are
29.
playing for
We love to see it.
£133,000.
133k.
Numbers are set in stone.
Things you love to see.
133,200 for Alex. 103.5 for Minji. 83.3 for Yusan Chan.
Action now after this deal, we're going to go a little bit faster, I guess.
Everything changes now that the playouts are flat. It's just sit and go basically. There's no pressure. There's one prize to play for, and
so a lot of people were criticising the deal, I guess, in the chat, saying that you know, you shouldn't really give them a deal. You know, you've got a big chip league, they're all under it. They got a bit of a point, right? But something I think you touched on was the blinds was going up.
So the blind increase, the next level was 1 million, 2 million, and then the following level was 1.5, 3 million. So suddenly the stacks are getting 50% shallower.
I think when you actually did this deal, it was like 20 minutes until the blinds were going to 3 million big blinds.
Yeah.
So everyone was going to have like 10 bigs, or I think that was right.
Yeah.
Or maybe 2.5.
And I would have 33
a lot of
bigs
these hands now, you're going to be able to get shoved on like a little board literally. And your edge is going to go down a little bit. You still have taken like probably a sub-optimal deal, but like this is a lot of money, right?
Yeah.
I mean, for a lot of people, you know.
And I also recognise that we talked about doing a deal earlier when we all had similar chips, and I would have got, I don't know, 90,000 or whatever it was at that point, and then I've had some like amazing hands, run up my stack, and now I'm getting 133. Why am I to say, oh, I want 140 or whatever? In that spot, the small details are irrelevant.
44. I mean, you're basically it's a big layoff. This is a big amount of money you're playing for. So like,
well, that was something
to lay off.
Just going to be playing chip EV now. ICM out.
That was something that I said at the time. Right, I'd like to play for 20% rather than 10% because
it's easy for people who are like commenting in the chats and stuff saying like, "Oh, this is a bad deal." But like when you're in this situation, unless you've got like loads of money, like this is a lot of money, you know. To lock that up, I think they're pretty smart.
Stacks need to just
even to someone that has a lot of money, 75 grand is nothing to be sniffed at, and like the next payout was 29,000. That's the thing. We're talking about a massive difference. Like,
and anything can happen, you know. It's tournament poker.
Yeah.
You lose a couple of all-ins, you're the shortest stack, you know. I mean, it's not likely, but
well done, one and all.
Could happen. And then you're out. You could be out for 30k.
Well done, one and all.
Crazier things have happened in the last 10 years of playing poker. I swear to you.
No.
I've been 1 of 15 in a big online tournament and come 15th.
Yeah, it does happen.
Like that's not unreasonable at all.
For 44k, if like they get heads up, then
we locked up the money.
Locked up, and now we're playing on for the title for the 44k extra. We're back in the zone. So picking back up the action.
Still plenty going on in the room.
3 people left now.
Big blind.
Bust out's fast and furious after the deal was done.
But
now we're 3 left. Winner takes all for the 44k, so not surprising people is you know, not too shy to get it all in. You just root the button here. I can't see exactly how much they got, but I think this is just over 10 bigs effective. Or maybe a little.
I think Richard might have been near 15, but
seems pretty reasonably standard.
Yeah.
You stand here, 10 bigs, they say, call him.
He's ready.
He's ready. Seems good.
Yeah, Richard had 15, 16.
Yeah, Richard had 16 and 5. Can't call now, I don't think. Even in the limit take.
If he called there, it would have been mad.
Here we go, and this is, guys, this is where you really get the insight.
This is my biggest tip. Winning the big all-ins is where all the money is made.
This is how you win the Goliath.
This is how you win the Goliath right now.
Free trap for
even if it looks unlikely.
Spoiler alert.
You can see by the way I'm sitting, I'm quite confident that whatever happens, I'm going to win this all in, obviously, because it's all fate. It was meant to be.
Super spirits.
That's nice.
I've basically flopped the nuts. Like, it's game over.
So obviously, King 8 deuce for most people.
I've got a lot of equity here.
5%.
No, I've got more than that. I've got so much more than that. Look how much equity I've got. 19. I'd back myself. 4 to 1.
Here we go.
I'd back myself.
This was a great moment on the rail. This is a great moment on the rail. I don't think you get to see it perfectly, but great moment.
From his perspective,
you know
spades is in the marked river card. It's the Jack of Spades!
Oh, they can't. You couldn't hear the celebrations. You can see it in the background.
And Alex goes running spades
what a moment.
for the nut flush and up to 10
You sound took it well. Good
he was a nice fellow. I like him a lot.
Heads up here, Tower. Hopefully we're not going on break and we're just going
to... No more breaks from Jay.
Heads up for the Goliath title.
That's a nice chip there.
How often do I say that? When have you ever heard me say that?
I don't want to...
Alright, here we go. The last hand. Spoiler alert. The last hand of Goliath 2023.
Can you guess who wins?
Can you guess the winner of this hand? Richard, ace 9.
Ace 9. I'm all in, he says.
I'll peel one 10. I'll peel the other 10. Let's go.
Six ends.
Alex has got 10.
Run over.
Enjoy this moment.
Get me on the cooking thing. Get me on that stage, he says.
The rail runs over.
Was that me running on the stage?
Yeah.
Just under 75% of the time, Alex is going to be the Goliath.
I felt like it was
champion
over.
here.
I've already
Just
said to
needing
him,
to
well
fade
played.
an ace. Is this going to be it?
If it was the other way around and I had ace 9, it's a flip. It's a flip. Like him having ace 9, he's basically dead. You can't beat with 10s here.
You run good, you
I run,
think?
yeah. Hello, I've just won the Goliath. Of course I run good.
You run pretty good.
Run good is a big part of success in this game. Let's not underestimate
You?
that. No.
This is your game.
To be successful, you have to run good. You can play really good and not be successful. Like that's just the brutal reality.
If this is not an ace,
advice.
these fans are going to go
Run good, that's my
absolutely
advice.
bonkers.
River card.
Listen to the roar.
Banger!
Tens, of course, tens. Tens are good
That's
for
it.
Alex.
Look at this. It's absolute scenes.
Behind, they are loving that. Tower, you better get off.
Oh, what a moment, mate. What a
But that's it,
moment.
guys. Tower's going to go out to the field, go have a chat with the players, but that is it from
Mental.
11,000.
Mental. It all feels like a blur now.
93
Like just being back
entries for
here and
the
looking
day
back,
ones,
it's
a
like
record breaker.
week and a half on, it's
Coventry for
£177,000.
Goliath
I want to do it all again. I'm so ready to do it all again.
£150 buy-in.
25.
No, it was a £600 buy-in.
That was
Fourth
down to
bullet,
40.
so-
Oh, yeah,
Of them
just for me.
falling for the man
Wow.
leading the way.
I'd have done
Well,
five
Alex
by
Todd has closed it out on day 3.
Right.
So, congratulations, Alex. Some people ask what you're going to do with the money and stuff.
Not a lot of plans, really. Just more of the same, I guess. Bigger tournaments, more
You're going to be
tournaments.
seeing more of your face out there, grinding.
For sure, for sure. I'm going to be playing a lot. Not straight away, but definitely in the near future I'll be travelling a bit more, getting to a few of the stops.
Playing some more live poker.
Yeah, like I've always enjoyed live poker, but it's an expensive sort of hobby. And if you don't get the success come with it, then yeah, you can go on sort of big downswing. So it's nice to now just be able to go and sort of play quite freely and see what I can do. So that's definitely something I'm looking forward to. Definitely got more stuff coming up online as well with YouTube or Twitch
Start posting
streaming.
maybe potentially some vlogs.
Potentially some vlogs.
We'll see.
I don't know if we can let people into the Essex cash game insight because there's some
Maybe.
action.
We'll see.
There's some good action, but that's definitely something to
Keep your
consider.
eyes out for that. Right, I'll do it for it. Let's go. Like and subscribe if you're new. What else do they say? Leave a comment, like and subscribe, all of that good stuff. If you made it this far in the video, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
You've
And
watched on YouTube.
anyone who wants to play with the Goliath champion of 2023, Alex Todd. Poker Bros, if anyone's got Poker Bros, he's got a club. They're doing a £150 tournament, I think sometime in September.
3rd of September.
3rd of September. £500 if you knock them out of the tournament. Straight into your
Free,
bank.
straight from my pocket to your bank
£500.
account.
So if you're interested in
if
that,
you knock me out.
King Toddy, is it King Toddy Poker?
King Toddy
King Toddy
_poker.
_poker on Instagram. We'll put the little
Yeah, we'll have all the tags and
Something
the
here.
nice stuff. We'll have the nice stuff.
do that. But anyway, thanks for watching.
Yeah, I appreciate everyone that's made it this far. I don't know how long this video is going to end up being, but if you have made it to the end, then I definitely appreciate it. And yeah, just watch this space. More
Peace.
to come. Nice one.